Okay, so anyway, I'll just start off this video with showing you some of the two movies I watched. Interestingly, like this movie said, came out in 1984. Obama was the born on 8/4, and also the rating here on IMDb 6.1. Obama was born in 1961. Kind of funny. Even says 16 votes, the mirror of 61. And then right at the very beginning, they show you Philadelphia, October 1943. Another real quick thing about the number 43. The word 43, and like I said, 43 and 34 are surrounded by the Civil War that started in 1861, but the word 43 adds to 59, just like all these other words. And then the word 34 adds to 61, so pretty interesting. So anyway, right in the very beginning, before they get on the ship, they go across this giant bridge here. And we talked about the Golden Gate Bridge a lot. I'm not sure what this bridge is. It's obviously in Philadelphia. But just interesting that they show this big old bridge. And also, it's about a boat. And the whole point is that the boat is cloaked or whatever. It's hiding. And that just reminds me of the movie Captain Phillips. With Tom Hanks or whatever. Phillips for short for Phil and Philadelphia. But and then Tom Hanks was in all kinds of other stuff that had to do with it. Castaway, the Da Vinci Code. Castaway was about the Malaysian airline. Captain Phillips saving Mr. Banks. Philip Banks on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's even in the movie called Philadelphia that I talked about previously. Even Apollo 13. He's in so many movies. It's ridiculous. But on with the chlorophyll here. So the whole point of the whole movie is that they go on the boat, they do the experiment, and then in 1984 they're doing the same type of experiment, and they get sucked into like a hyperspace or whatever. And they time travel to 1984. And when he gets there, he ends up going through some complications. Him and his friend, and they have to steal this lady's car, and they end up going to jail. But when he goes into jail, just watch this part. It's totally like predictive of gay marriage here, so, or at least the gay agenda. So my computer keeps freezing, and the sound is messed up when I try to play this clip. So anyway, I'll just tell you what happens. Basically, he just says to the trainee, or the trainee says to him, "Would you like a cigarette?" And then he says, "Yeah, I'd want a cigarette." And they sit there, and then he says, "Why are you dressed like that?" And then the trainee says, "I don't know, do you like it?" And then the cops come, and then he gets out of jail because the lady's car that he stole, she doesn't want to press charges because she doesn't want him to go to jail for 12 years. And the main conversation is about a cigarette. And cigarette adds up to 43. And it also adds up to 88. So then the cop's all mad because he wants her to press charges. And she's like, "I just don't want him to go to jail for 12 years or whatever. He's got problems." And the cop goes, "I've got problems too, but we don't solve our problems with guns. It's all about the guns and whatever." But it's just so ridiculous because he is a cop and he does solve all of his problems with guns. He has a gun, or maybe that's just the stick, but he most likely has a gun, and he uses his authority and he has the gun. So it's really funny to me that he says we don't solve our problems with guns. And there was, a bunch of little subliminals in this movie. I didn't take a screenshot of all of them for whatever the reason, but there was a part where there was a skull and crossbones on a helmet. Right here, he's driving a car, and it has a 44 on it. I'm assuming it's a 4x4, but just kind of funny. It has a 44, Obama, 44th president. So there's actually a newer version of this movie that came out in 2012, or a remake, a made-for-TV movie. And that's the one I actually watched first. This one is like way, way, way more coded than the original one in 84, or at least in, like, stuff in the background. So from the very start, they show you the mirror, the as above, so below kind of image. It focuses in upside down onto this car. Just pointing that out right away. It's kind of funny too, the IMDb of this movie. So because you can't even find it on Wikipedia, but it's 89 minutes long. So that's all about the Queen, King James. Also, it says the reviews. There's 34 user reviews. Talked about 34, and then 16 critic, the Mirror of 61. So they used that lady's car, and he's using it in the cloaking experiment or the time travel experiment. And anyway, she says, "I hope you know what you're doing," or he says, "Abracadabra," and then she says, "I hope you know what you're doing." But abracadabra is all about Thelema and 93. And Thelema has a lot to do with Aleister Crowley and the number 93. And what's interesting about that is I'm talking about 44 and the Civil War and whatnot. And 4/3, like April 3rd, is the 93rd day of the year. So interesting that it all goes together like that. Also, if you come down here, you read about the historical thing of Thelema, and it says a character in the Renaissance, a character named Thelema, represents will or desire of the Dominican monk Francisco Colonna. I mean, Francisco, like San Francisco, right? Francis. And it says he was born in 1833 or 1834, so interesting. Maybe a 34 reference. And then he heavily influenced this guy, Francis or Francois, whatever, Rabelais, who died on 4/9 and was born between 1483 and 1494. Let's go back here. Then it goes on and it mentions "Do What Thou Wilt" and Sir Francis Dashwood. I mean, so it's like Francisco, Francis, Sir Francis, we have Pope Francis. Who knows? That's just kind of interesting. And they mentioned 40 a decent amount of time in this movie. 40 this, 40 that. In the original experiment here, they have to get it up to 40 Teslas. And then later on they show the boat, and the boat has the 173 on it. And the 40th prime number is 173. So not quite sure what the significance of 40 is. Haven't really seen 40 that much, but in this movie they actually do show 40 a lot. And if you actually go and watch Enter the Stars videos, he talks about how Jesus actually died at age 40. So I'm assuming most likely it's something to do with that. And then right here, so this is the very beginning. The boat comes through time, and it lands on an airplane runway, and it says it's 12 miles west of Philadelphia. And in the first movie, the original, they talk about how he's going to go to jail for 12 years, and they kind of like mention it more than once. So just kind of interesting that it's 12 miles west of Philadelphia. I also talked about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is from West Philadelphia, and West Philadelphia adds up to 168, just like the Queen Elizabeth II and Beyonce and Taylor Swift. The airplane also has the SR-22, and then there's even another 2 looking thing right there, so the 222. Then right here, the cop's leaving. It's his girlfriend or whatever, and you can't see him, but he's leaving. But right here, they have the order number, 22. And then they come to here and they have Gray Watch. I mean, give me a break. So it's been all about Gray, the Civil War, Freddie Gray. I mean, just ridiculous. This is actually the name of the company that is doing the experiment in the future or whatever. So Gray Watch. Yeah, well, we should be watching for the Gray, right? And also, I mean, literally, so watching for the Gray, because Gray has been a big deal. But the word Gray Watch, it adds up to 110. And that's kind of craziness because a lot of things to do with the World Trade Center had to do with 110. It's just like a a number they use around people, or around like terrorism type people like Hitler and Osama bin Laden. So the Twin Towers were 110 floors. Osama bin Laden adds up to 110. It was proposed and approved by Rockefellers, and Rockefeller adds up to 110. Adolf Hitler adds up to 110. He also died on the same day 19 years before the Church of Satan was founded. Ronald Reagan adds up to 110. Just discovered that from earlier with the Bushes getting replaced by Reagans in NASCAR. Also, the Columbine shooting happened on Hitler's birthday, which is the 110th day of the year. It even says that it was from 11:19 to 12:08, which is 49 minutes. The word Columbine actually adds up to 94, the mirror of 49. But I mean, let's look at these guys here, the two kids that shot up the school. Look at their birthdays. April 9th, 4/9/1981, and then this one was September 11th. I mean, go figure, some good days for some terrorist killers at the school. Wow, he is also born in Kansas. But anyway, it was also they were both born in 1981, so they would both be 34 years old this year. And it's all about 52 and 49 because September 11th is 5 months, 2 days away from April 9th. And then May 2nd, 5/2, is 4 months and 9 days away from September 11th. I mean, just give me a break. It even says they murdered a total of 12 students and 1 teacher, so 13, and they injured 21 additional people, so 21 plus 13, 34. And then it says 3 others being injured while attempting to escape the school. So they were injured, but it had nothing to do, like they weren't injured by like gunfire or it's because they were running away. But 12 or 13 and 21, 34. And they would have been 34 this year. Even Columbine, Colorado adds up to 177. That is 6/26. That is 177th day is 6/26, the day that gay marriage became legalized. And I'm not going to re-explain that. I'll just maybe make a playlist of all these videos and put it in there because it goes with everything I'm talking about. Right here, when he goes into the future in this movie, they show the newspaper. This is when he finds out what the date is. The date is August 27th, 2012. August 27th, 239th day of the year. Talked about it, how it goes with 52 so many times. So moving on. So the boat originally lands in Philadelphia, and then it teleports again or whatever, and it lands on top of this building in Chicago. So interesting. I've mentioned like not very many towns or cities. Philadelphia, Chicago, and San Francisco, all huge. And then I just talked about Kansas City with this video. But interesting. And the only other place that it goes to in this movie is England, and it lands on a nuclear power plant. So who knows what that could all mean. But interesting, it goes to Philadelphia, Chicago, and then it takes out a nuclear power plant in England. They also mention the number 70 a lot in this movie. 70 years ago, whatever, but it was actually 72 years ago. But anyway, 1970 was 45 years ago. 1945 is 70 years ago. So they're referring most likely to 1945, which is the backwards of love. Love is 54, and the mirror would be evil, 45. Also, Project Rainbow is equals 70. The Philadelphia experiment is also called Project Rainbow. And just made me think of maybe it's not about so much like something seriously like sinister or evil, but it's just about the backwards of love, right? That's what gays and the backwards of love. So like, yeah, basically they got love backwards, because they love the same sex and not do what you're supposed to do or whatever. I guess also the reason that they do they say 70 years is because of this movie came out in 2012, not 2015, so it would have been 69 years. So maybe they were just rounding it up to 70, or depending on when the movie came out, I guess. So just wanted to point that out. Then, so the government people are after her, and the time travel guy, and a guy calls him on the phone, and he tells her that to remember the code words bravery gate, and he says the other guy will know what it means, blah blah blah. But then later on in the movie, the guy chasing him calls and he says, "I found it out. They said Ivory Gate or whatever." So it's just kind of weird that they changed the word up. So I mean, I don't even know what the significance is, but they want you to remember Bravery Gate and Ivory Gate for whatever the reason. Even at the end of the movie, I couldn't even figure out like what the point of them saying that was. But Bravery Gate, if you add that up, it adds up to 52, a number we've talked about tons of times. And Ivory Gate, if you add that up, well, that is in the reduction one. If you add it up in just a standard gematria, it's 122, like San Francisco, Pope Francis, and just tons of stuff. If you search Ivory Gate, it brings you to this word, and it's dealing with Greek mythology. But you scroll down here, and you find gates and horns, gates of horn and ivory, and you find out that ivory is similar to deceive, and it's all about dreams. So it's the horn, the horn dreams are like the true dreams, and ivory is like a deceitful dream. I don't know, just kind of weird. But also, it's this, and if you add that up, that adds up to 49 and 85. So interesting. The 49 and the 85 is all about Back to the Future. I don't want to go too much in depth with it because I haven't really mentioned it in these videos. Right here at 5141, they actually show a license plate that adds up to 51. Then they show the Salinger Institute, and Salinger Institute adds up to 222. And they show code right here at 10644. And it's weird because the whole thing is in green except for these little sections here. That's red. And there's a yellow section here that literally says 84848. I mean, Obama is all about 84. Born on 84, you know? So I'm not quite sure what that means. I know yellow, I thought yellow had to do with Jesus. Yep, that's what I was thinking too. Come watch this video as well, and he does other ones with the color yellow. But anyway, this one is about the gay flag, the rainbow flag, and they removed indigo and the flag, so there's only 6 colors of the rainbow. Interesting because he talks about how Jesus actually died at the age of 40. But the word indigo adds up to 40. So very, very interesting. Also, back to Kansas stuff again. I can't believe I never put this together earlier. Maybe I'll make another video. Actually, I'm going to, about Jerry Sandusky and whatnot. But in Wizard of Oz, one of the main songs is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So, I mean, give me a break. I mean, I can't even believe I forgot about that. But yeah, for sure we'll come back and look at this, because as I'm scrolling down here, I even see the song was used as a wake-up call in the STS-88 space shuttle mission in Flight Day 4. So, I mean, like I said, hopefully maybe tomorrow I'll do some research into it. Want to finish this movie, though. So I guess interesting that they would use a Obama number with the yellow color, unless it is representing the 3 of 6 that he's talking about here instead of the 3 of 7. And also, I mean, look at this little set of numbers here. Obama's black, 5 of them are yellow, and there's a total of 9 colors. So 5, 9, 59. And I mean, like I said, I don't know what the significance of these little red ones are. So, but I mean, why would they be different colored? To me, that just doesn't make any sense, unless you're supposed to look at them and there's some type of code in this little section of the movie. Just gonna end it right here, I believe. Uh, yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot more. There's a lot of little things in this movie. Like right there, there's another 40. The time starts on 40. Um, but yeah, this movie is definitely filled with a lot of stuff. Just very interesting that it's about the Philadelphia experiment that adds to 122, and it's also called Project Rainbow. And they just legalized gay marriage, and gay is all about the rainbow. And the Pope is coming to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is in Revelation in the Bible. Also, the synagogue of Satan. The Pope adds up to the same as San Francisco. He's named after the same guy that San Francisco is named after. I mean, just ridiculous. There's so much. But yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. And then I got to go to bed. So hopefully I can put out a couple more videos even if I find some more with this Wizard of Oz thing. And also, I never did include the Jerry Sandusky stuff. So anyway, have a great night.